Welcome to the Deep Dive. Today we're diving into the truth about Shri Krishna and Radha.
Oh, yeah.
You've shared some interesting stuff with us, a whole podcast script exploring their story
Okay.
from like historical and spiritual perspectives.
Yeah,
It seems like you want to go deeper, beyond just the surface level
absolutely.
and uncover who they really were and what their legacy truly means.
Yeah, definitely a story that deserves a deep dive for sure.
Yeah.
So many layers of interpretation. And
Yeah.
and often I think the popular understanding gets a little,
Muddled.
muddled over time.
I'm ready to get muddled. We all know those classic images of Krishna, right?
Yeah.
The mischievous child stealing butter.
Yes.
The divine charioteer, guiding Arjuna in the Bhagavad Gita.
Yeah.
But I get the feeling we're about to uncover a very different side to him.
Let's start with that image of Krishna as a god.
Okay.
It's fascinating how that idea evolved.
Yeah.
The original stories actually portray him as a prince,
Okay.
a real historical figure
A real person.
who lived during a period known as Satyug, a golden age of truth and virtue.
Oh.
He was considered the first ruler of this era,
Okay.
and while he possessed divine qualities,
Yeah.
wisdom, virtue, incredible charm,
Yeah.
he wasn't considered God in the traditional sense.
So not a deity who descended from the heavens,
Right.
but a prince who rose to prominence during this remarkable era.
Exactly.
Okay, that's already changing my whole perspective.
Yeah.
But it makes me wonder, where does Radha fit into all of this?
Yeah,
Their love story is legendary,
of course.
but she often gets portrayed as this tragic figure yearning for Krishna.
Yeah.
Is that an accurate representation?
Her story is definitely more nuanced than that.
Okay.
While their love is celebrated worldwide,
Great.
their union went beyond just romance.
Right.
It was a union of two noble lineages,
Uh-huh.
symbolizing this merging of, incredible forces.
Yeah.
Radha, Krishna was seen as the epitome of grace and virtue. Together, they represented a perfect balance of masculine and feminine energies,
Okay.
a concept that's, central to many spiritual traditions.
Yeah.
In fact, they eventually become known as Sri Lakshmi and Sri Narayan.
Wow.
The first emperor and empress of heaven?
A power couple of the highest order.
That's one way to put it.
But if they were these extraordinary figures, why do we have so many myths surrounding them?
Oh.
Like the whole idea of Krishna being a god who came to save the world.
It's interesting how these narratives shift over time.
Yeah.
This idea of Krishna as a savior god who descends to earth seems to be a later addition to the story.
Really?
The original sources paint a different picture.
Okay.
They suggest that while he was a divine being,
Yeah.
he was also human,
Yeah.
subject to the cycle of birth and rebirth just like everyone else.
Wait, so he wasn't some eternal being?
Yeah, in that sense.
He actually lived multiple lives before becoming this perfected ruler in Satyug?
That's what the historical texts and spiritual insights indicate. Krishna, like every soul, went through reincarnation,
Wow.
refining himself over many lifetimes until he reached that peak of perfection in Satyug.
That completely reframes the narrative.
It does.
It's making me rethink everything I thought I knew about him.
I can imagine.
And speaking of things that need reframing, there's the Bhagavad Gita.
Yeah.
Everyone associates those teachings with Krishna, right?
That's actually a huge misconception.
Why?
The true speaker of the Bhagavad Gita was the incorporeal supreme soul,
Okay.
often referred to as Shiva.
Shiva.
It seems Krishna's name was mistakenly inserted into the text later on,
Wow.
leading to centuries of confusion.
That's a pretty significant detail to get wrong.
It is.
So if Krishna wasn't the one delivering those teachings, what was his distinct role then?
Well, Shiva is seen as the incorporeal creator of the world,
Okay.
while Krishna is the corporeal prince who inherits heaven during Satyug.
Okay.
He's the embodiment of those divine qualities,
Yeah.
wisdom, virtue, leadership,
Uh-huh.
that allowed him to establish a golden age.
Got it.
That's why he wouldn't be considered the purifier of the world.
Okay.
That title belongs to the Supreme Soul.
This is making a lot more sense now. It's like we're peeling back layers of interpretation to find the real story underneath.
That's a great way to put it.
And speaking of stories, there are so many famous tales about Krishna
Yes.
dancing on the serpent Kaliya,
Yeah.
lifting Govardhan Mountain,
Right.
battling his evil uncle Kansa.
Right.
Are those literal events or...
You're picking up on something really important here.
Okay.
These stories aren't meant to be taken literally.
Right.
They're allegories.
Okay.
Symbolic tales representing Krishna's role in restoring balance and virtue to the world.
So if we're not supposed to read them as historical events,
Right.
how are we supposed to interpret them? Could you give me an example?
Take the legend of Kansa.
Okay.
It's not just about a battle with an evil king.
Right.
It's about the internal struggle we all face.
Okay.
The battle between our higher and lower selves. Krishna's triumph over Kansa symbolizes the victory of our good qualities over our negative tendencies. It's a story about mastering our inner demons.
That's brilliant.
Thank you.
It's like those stories were designed to teach us something much deeper about ourselves.
Exactly.
And one image that always intrigued me was Krishna as the butter thief.
Yeah.
Surely it wasn't just about him craving dairy, right?
You're exactly right. The butter he steals represents something far more profound.
Yeah.
It's the essence of purity and happiness. You could say it's the real butter of a virtuous life.
Oh, I like that.
It's about striving for that inner richness and joy that comes from aligning ourselves with those higher qualities.
Okay, this is all making so much more sense now.
Good.
We're seeing Krishna and Radha in a whole new light.
I'm glad to hear that.
But I'm curious, what does their story mean for us today? What's their enduring legacy?
Yeah,
And why should we care?
that's the heart of it, isn't it?
I think so.
Their legacy goes far beyond temples and festivals. It's about recognizing their roles as pioneers of a new age, as embodiments of divine qualities that we can all aspire to.
So it's not about worshiping them,
Right.
but about understanding the message behind their lives.
Think of them as inspiration, reminding us that we all have the potential for transformation.
Yeah.
They represent the possibility of creating a world that reflects those divine qualities.
Right.
Peace, love, harmony.
Right.
A message that feels especially relevant in today's world.
That's a powerful thought.
It is.
But it also makes me wonder if Krishna reached that level of perfection after multiple lifetimes.
Yeah.
What does that say about our own potential for growth and change?
That's a question worth pondering, and
Yeah.
it's something we can explore further in our deep dive.
Like it.
Okay.
Oh, yeah.
It really does challenge our assumptions about what's possible, doesn't it?
It does?
The idea that Krishna spent multiple lifetimes refining himself
Right.
before reaching that peak of perfection in Satyug, it suggests that we're not limited by our current circumstances
Right.
or even by this single lifetime.
It's incredibly inspiring,
Yeah.
but also a little daunting.
Yeah.
If it took him multiple lifetimes, how can we possibly achieve that level of transformation in just one?
I think the key is to shift our focus from the end goal to the journey itself.
Okay.
It's not about reaching some, impossible standard of perfection overnight.
Right.
It's about taking those small, consistent steps towards becoming the best versions of ourselves.
Yeah.
Just like Krishna did.
So instead of feeling overwhelmed by the enormity of it all,
Right.
we can focus on making those daily choices
Exactly.
that align with those higher qualities.
Yes.
But where do we even begin?
Right.
Where do we find that inspiration in our everyday lives?
It starts with recognizing the divinity within ourselves.
Okay.
We often get caught up in the external world,
Yeah.
striving for success, material possessions, social status.
Right.
But Krishna and Radha's story reminds us that true transformation begins internally. It's about cultivating those virtues, kindness, compassion, integrity,
Yeah.
and letting those qualities guide our actions.
It's like shifting our attention from outward achievements to inner growth.
Exactly.
But how do we actually put that into practice?
Yeah.
Does it mean grand gestures, or is it more about the small everyday choices we make?
It's about bringing that awareness into every interaction, every decision.
Okay.
It's about pausing before we react and asking ourselves,
Yeah.
what would Krishna do? Or how would Radha approach this situation?
All of that.
Letting those insights guide our path.
I love that.
Yeah.
It makes their story so much more relatable and applicable to our own lives.
I agree.
It's not just a distant legend anymore.
Yay.
It's a living, breathing philosophy
Yes.
that we can draw upon in any moment.
And that's the power of diving deeper into these stories.
Yeah.
We move beyond the surface level and uncover a wealth of wisdom that can truly transform our lives.
It's funny, we started this deep dive wanting to understand the truth about Krishna and Radha.
Yeah.
But it feels like we're also uncovering truths about ourselves along the way.
That's the beauty of exploration, isn't it?
I think so.
We're constantly learning and evolving.
Right.
These stories serve as incredible guides on that journey.
It's certainly been eye-opening for me.
Good.
I feel like I have a whole new understanding of their story, but more importantly,
Yeah.
a new perspective on my own potential.
And that's what makes it so rewarding.
Yes.
It's not just about acquiring knowledge.
Right.
It's about applying it.
Yeah.
Letting it inspire us to live more meaningful, fulfilling lives.
I couldn't agree more.
Okay.
So where do we go from here?
Hmm.
What's the next step in this journey of self-discovery?
The beauty is that the journey is unique for each individual.
Okay.
But I think the key is to continue exploring.
Yeah.
To keep asking questions, to challenge our assumptions.
Right.
And to delve deeper into the wisdom these stories hold.
I'm definitely up for that challenge.
Good.
And I bet our listeners are too.
I hope so.
They've been on this deep dive with us,
Right.
uncovering layers of meaning and seeing Krishna and Radha in a whole new light.
And that shared experience of discovery is what makes it so powerful.
Absolutely.
Who knows what other insights we'll uncover as we continue to explore.
It's amazing to think that a story that's been told for centuries
Yeah.
can still hold so much relevance for us today.
It is.
It's a testament to the power of these timeless teachings.
Absolutely. And if we go back to that idea of Krishna achieving perfection through multiple lifetimes,
Yeah.
it really makes you think about our own perception of time and potential.
It does. It's like if he could transform himself over many lifetimes, what does that say about our capacity for growth and change?
Exactly.
Even within the span of a single lifetime.
It suggests that we're not fixed, that
No.
we're constantly evolving beings with limitless possibilities for transformation.
That's both incredibly inspiring and a little bit mind-boggling.
I can imagine.
I mean, no pressure,
Yes.
right? We've just got to keep evolving for, like, eternity.
But it's not about pressure. It's about embracing the journey.
Okay.
It's about recognizing that we're all on a path of self-discovery and growth.
Right.
A path that extends far beyond the confines of the single lifetime.
I love that perspective.
Good.
Instead of getting caught up in the idea of reaching some ultimate destination,
Yeah,
we can focus on the joy of the journey itself.
exactly.
Knowing that we're constantly evolving, learning, and becoming more aligned with our true selves.
Yes.
Each lifetime becomes an opportunity to learn, to grow, and to contribute to the evolution of consciousness.
Yeah.
It's almost like each lifetime is like a chapter in our own personal epic.
Yeah.
And we get to keep writing and rewriting our story
Right.
until we get it just right.
That's a beautiful way to put it.
Yeah.
And just like Krishna faced challenges and setbacks on his path to perfection,
Right.
we too will encounter obstacles
Yeah.
and learn from our mistakes. It's
Yeah.
all part of the process.
It's reassuring to know that even someone like Krishna,
Yeah.
who we often think of as this flawless being,
Right.
also had to go through those struggles and triumphs.
Of course.
It makes his journey feel much more human and relatable.
Absolutely. And remember, he wasn't striving for perfection in isolation.
Right.
He had Radha by his side.
Yeah.
Their union representing that perfect balance of masculine and feminine energies.
Yeah.
It reminds us that we don't have to do it all alone.
Right.
We can find support and inspiration from those around us, just as they supported each other on their journey.
That makes me think about all the different relationships in our lives.
Yeah.
Family, friends, mentors, even romantic partners.
Mm-hmm.
They all play a role in shaping who we are
Right.
and guiding us towards our potential,
Exactly.
just like Radha and Krishna's partnership.
And just as their unions symbolize something far greater than individual love,
Yeah.
our relationships can also become vehicles for growth and transformation.
Okay.
We can learn from each other, challenge each other. Right.
And inspire each other to become the best versions of ourselves.
This has been such a profound deep dive.
It has.
We started out wanting to understand the truth about Shri Krishna and Radha,
Yeah.
and we've ended up exploring so much more.
Well, yeah.
History, spirituality, reincarnation, relationships,
Yeah.
and ultimately our own limitless potential.
It's been a privilege to share this exploration with you,
Likewise.
and I hope our listener has found it just as enriching.
I'm sure they have, and if you're listening out there, we'd love to hear your thoughts.
Yes.
What resonated with you most from this deep dive?
Yeah.
What new perspectives did you gain about Shri Krishna and Radha?
Hmm.
And more importantly, what insights about your own journey will you take with you?
Remember, like Krishna's story reminds us,
Yeah.
the journey of transformation is an ongoing process.
Right.
It's about taking those small steps each day,
Uh-huh.
cultivating those divine qualities within ourselves,
Yeah.
and finding joy in the adventure of becoming who we're truly meant to be.
Yeah.
Beautifully said. And on that note, we'll wrap up this deep dive. Until next time, keep seeking, keep questioning, keep evolving. Thanks for joining us on the Deep Dive.